Today we are going to be working on ordering and comparing rational numbers. Before we start working on the lesson for today, we are going to do a quick check from the lesson from yesterday. So, to make our fractions into decimals, we divide the numerator by the denominator. So I'm going to divide 1 by 5, and you are allowed to use your calculator. So 1 divided by 5 is 2/10. At the top, it says use bar notation if necessary. 2/10 does not keep repeating, so it's not necessary to use it. My next one is -2 7/10. So I'm going to write equals, pull my negative sign out so I don't forget about it, and do 2 divided by 7. And I get this really long number. I'm going to write it off to the side. And it might take me a second to look at the pattern. So I'm going to look here and see if I find anything that starts repeating. So 2, 8, 5, 7, 1, 4, 2, 8. And then we talked about this number that happens both in class today, and we also discussed it during the video yesterday. Our calculator is trying to help us, and it rounds up. And we're just going to ignore it for right now. So we have 2, 8, 5, 7, 1, 4, 2, 8, and this would typically be a 5. So what we're going to do is put our bar notation above here, come back to our original problem. Our negative's already out, so we don't forget about it. And then we write the decimal that repeats with our bar notation. All right, let's try the next one. Don't forget about the negative. Pull it out, and then plug in the rest into your calculator. I'm going to do 2 divided by 3 equals, and once again, it rounded that last number, but we're just going to ignore it, so it's just 6/10 repeating. 0 and 6/10 repeating. Okay, this next one, I want you to cross out, and I want you to write 5 and 6/10. I think we need a little bit of review on mixed numbers. So what we're going to do is you can either change it to an improper fraction or pull out the whole number, then write this as a decimal. So we have 6/10. Well, I can either know it from hearing it, 6/10, or do 6 divided by 10, and that equals 0 and 6/10. Since I had a whole number in front, that would be in place of the 0. Okay, go ahead and turn the page. Now for today's lesson, we're going to be ordering and comparing rational numbers, which is what we are starting on now. So example 1 says fill in the blank with greater than, less than, or equal to make a true statement. So we have -1 and 2/10, and we want to fill in the statement versus 8/10. So step 1 says graph the decimals on the number line. So it's already done for us, but we did have 1 and 2/10, and that's a negative, and then 8/10. So since -1 and 2/10 is to the left of 8/10, -1 and 2/10 is less than 8/10. So the other day we had talked about the further to the right the number, the higher the number. Left is lower, it's the least. Example number 2 is very similar, but we have a different number line. So we have -1 and 4/10, or -1 and 25/100. Graph the decimals on the number line. So we have the number line right here, and it does go up by 500. And this would be 1 and 25/100, so make sure it's a negative. And you would plot your first one there. And then -1 and 4/10 would go right there. Okay? So since -1 and 4/10 is below -1 and 25/100, -1 and 4/10 is less than -1 and 25/100. So you would write below. And my handwriting can't fit in there, so I'm just going to write it below the line. Go ahead and turn your page. Same thing, but we're just using fractions, okay? So we are going to do it 2 different ways. This one does ask us to find it using the least common denominator, where this is where your multiples really come in handy knowing. So I know that 8 shares 16, so I'm going to do 3/8, and don't forget that it's negative. So -3/8 is equal to negative something over 16. So how does 8 get to 16? Well, you multiply it by 2. So whatever I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. So I'm going to times 3 by 2. And I get 6. So now I have -6/16. And I need to compare it to -5/16. And then I can compare. So step 3 is do it using the number line. And since they both have the same denominator, I'm looking at the top. Okay? So I know that on my number line, -6 is going to be further to the left than -5. And now I'm just going to write my denominator in so that I don't get confused. So -6/16 is less than -5/16. Okay. Example number 4. You're doing the same thing, but it's a mixture of decimals and fractions. So you can do this again by finding the same denominator, but in this case, it'll probably be easier to just make them both decimals. So step 1, rename the fraction as a decimal. So this is my only fraction, so I'm going to pull out my negative sign. And then do 8 divided by 15, which equals 0 and 5, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. So think about it for a second. What would I do? I'm going to write 0, 5, 10. And then I'm going to add my 3 with the repeating sign over it. Okay, so that is what -8/15 is equal to. So now I'm going to rewrite it. Rewrite my problem using my decimal. Don't forget your negative sign. And now I'm able to compare the numbers. Okay. Step 2 tells you to label them both on a number line. And you can do that. If I go ahead and draw that number line, I can make this 0, I can make this 1. And then the halfway point is about, don't forget your negative, is about 5/10. So these two numbers are both going to go in this section. So I'm going to look right here first, because they both have the same tenths place. I'm going to go to the hundredths place. So it would be -0 and 5/51 And then right over here, -0 and 53 So since -0 and 53 is further to the left, that answer is left. And don't forget, so when I was looking here, I was like, oh, this says -8/15. Well, that's the same as 0 and -53. Okay, so you can write it right under the number if you need. Go ahead and turn your page. So you guys are pretty good at this. The only thing that we haven't done yet when we're ordering numbers is just that negative sign. All of these have a negative, all right? So that's not going to be too difficult for us because we know that they're all negatives. We don't have to, like in this one, compare negatives and positives. So let's just focus on this one. I'm going to make these all decimals to compare. So this one's already a decimal, so I'm just going to write it right below. I'm going to pull my negative out for each of these so I don't forget. They both have 2 as a whole number, so I'm just going to pull the 2 out right away. And then I'm just going to divide my fraction. Okay? So 22 divided by 25 is 88 hundredths. So I have negative 2 and 88 hundredths. And then I have negative 2 and 1/10. So there's that. Personally, I'm just going to put in my 0 behind because it's easiest to compare when they all have the same amount of place value. Okay? So now I need to list them from least to greatest. Least to greatest. So first would be negative 2 and 1/10. I'm going to cross it out because I'm done. Then would be negative 2 and 46 hundredths. Then would be negative 2 and 88 hundredths. And then they are in order, so that I could write them in order again. We want to put them in the same form as well. So 2 and 88 hundredths, that was the same as 2 and 22 25ths. This one was already that, so it was already a decimal. And then this one was just 2 and 1/10, and it was negative. So then I would write them in their original form over here. So it's already written out for me because I did it right above. So I have negative 2 and 22 25ths. I have negative 2 and 46 hundredths. And then I have negative 2 and 1/10. Okay? Those are all in order from least to greatest. The next one, example 6. Mr. Plum's science class is growing plants under different conditions. The table shows the difference from the average for some students' plants. Ordered, that's my first step, the differences from least to greatest. So, first of all, I'm going to just put a star next to my 2 negatives because I know that those are going to go to the left. I'm going to write L for least and G for greatest. I know that these 2 are going to be my greatest. And I can do it by not even putting them in decimals or anything because I have a whole number of 3 and a whole number of 1. So my greatest would be 3 and 1/4, and that's Ricky. And then my one after that would be 1 and 7/10, which is Sunny. And then these are my 2 least. And once again, I can just look at those whole numbers to see which one is greater than the other. So if I were to order these, 1 and 2, 2 would be the least, so 2 and 2/10, which is Debbie. And the other one is Lenore, and it's just 1 and 7/10. Now, if I left it like this, that would not be okay because it's a negative. So I need to make sure I put that negative in and do Lenora. That's her name, Lenora. So that is the end of the lesson for today. I will also post a Khan Academy video in case you are confused about any of this. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow in class.